copper artifacts which were found from this cultural deposit, or were found from somewhere nearby this cultural deposit before the excavations. So these copper artifacts were believed to be the same one which are being found in the Harappan zone. So it was considered that this Ganeshwar-Jodhpura culture is the culture which was providing or supplying the raw copper or the copper implements, artifacts to the Harappans.
Oh,
So in that way, it became very important that Harappan civilization is there, but who are the suppliers to the Harappans for their urban nature? Who are the suppliers? So this Ganeshwar Jodhpura culture was named after the site of Ganeshwar and Jodhpura, and they were believed to be the suppliers of copper, all the metals to the Harappans.
Namaste, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Bṛhat Bodha, a podcast covering essential conversations on Indian culture and civilization. Today, we have with us Dr. Vinay Gupta, the Superintending Archaeologist with the Jaipur Circle of Archaeological Survey of India. A native of Mathura, currently Dr. Vinay is working with the Jaipur Circle of the ASI. He has authored and edited half a dozen books and has published about 50 research papers in various volumes, including international journals. He has directed excavations at Bewan, Barnoli, Rakhigadi, etc. His area of specialization also includes early Indian art and religious studies. His major publication includes Mathura, an art and archaeological study published from New Delhi, and the write-ups of Mathura and Braj in the Oxford Bibliographies on Hinduism. He and his team at Jaipur ASI recently made a very groundbreaking discovery at Bahaj, a Cree site on the 84 Kosha Parikrama route of the Braj. Today, we are here to discuss those key findings at Bahaj and some other sites that he has also worked on in his career, and that form an important physical numerical evidence backing for our rich civilizational continuity. So, welcome, Dr. Vinay. But before we start with the project of Bahaj, I would like to ask you how the working of ASI is. How do you, as a typical excavation project involved, what does it involve? Tools, methods, dating, other key operations that are there? What are some challenges that you face that we all may not know on the ground? So, yes, over to you, Vinayji.
Actually, Archaeological Survey of India is one of the oldest government organizations in our country. It was founded in 1861, or you may call in 1871, by Sir Alexander Cunningham. And since then, it is working continuously with some hiccups in between during the British times. But after independence, there has been no issues of hiccups. It is continuously working, and we have mandate of working for the archaeology, for the conservation and preservation of monuments and related activities. Since it is a government organization, so many things which the government wants to do, the responsibility also comes upon us. So we also do carry out such activities also, which are given to us. So the primary object means when in this organization, one is working in this organization, so organization has certain systems also in place, so we have to work in that system and have to do all those things also which are part of that system. So there is administration aspect also, because you are having a staff in a circle. Then there are certain other issues which are to be dealt with the local administration of the concerned districts or the tehsils. So this is also part of our duty. And then the major work is to do conservation on the centrally protected monuments and sites, and to do archaeological excavation and related research. So we are doing all these things. And when it comes to archaeological excavations, our government has given us a mandate to do excavations to take up excavations, and more emphasis has been given during the past few years by the government that Archaeological Survey of India should do more and more excavations. And because of this policy, when I joined as a superintending archaeologist, I got the opportunity to excavate at four different sites. So, firstly, when I became SA, I was posted in excavation branch in Delhi. So, I excavated at the site Barnoli ki Dhai in district Mathura, which is situated just opposite Vrindavan. And I was the co-director of Rakhi Gadi excavations at the same time. And then I moved to Jaipur. And when I joined Jaipur, I took up excavations at a site in district Sikar. It is called Bewa. And after Bewa, we started excavations at Bahaj in 2024, January 24, and since then it was continuing till July 25, and now we are in the process of completing its report. So this has been the journey of my excavations after joining ASI as a SA, and you talked about the tools and other things. So what happens when we have to start excavation at some site, we have to find out which site to excavate.
Right.
So first thing is to identify a site, and for that various factors work. For example, your area of jurisdiction. So currently, I am in Jaipur Circle, so I can only take up a site which falls under the jurisdiction of Jaipur Circle. So at present, at Jaipur Circle has 17 districts of Rajasthan. Most of the eastern Rajasthan is covered under Jaipur Circle. The western part comes under Jodhpur Circle. So in Jaipur Circle, we do not have Harappan sites. Most of the Harappan sites are situated in Hanumangarh, Ganganagar, and those districts, and which are forming part of Jodhpur Circle.
Right.
So first thing is your area of jurisdiction, because it matters. If
Yes.
sites, if you want to excavate a Harappan site, you cannot do so in Jaipur Circle because there is no Harappan site in this circle.
Right.
Then whatever type of sites are available with you, you have to decide which type of site you want to excavate. And uh, there are circumstances also which lead you to decide a site, and the overall circumstances governed by the Almighty, that decide actually which site you will be able to excavate.
Right.
So in that process, earlier uh, I had proposed some other site for excavation, but since it was a protected site, my higher authorities said it would be better if you select a site which is unprotected, because you are working in a circle and you better take up a unprotected site. Because of that, at the last moment, I went for exploration in that area of Sikar and surrounding, and then I pinpointed the site that Bewa site. This is ideal for our excavation purpose, and we proposed that site, and permission was granted by our Director General, and we excavated there for about 5 months. So that site was very important because uh, in Indian archaeology, there are certain issues which are continuing for many years or many decades, and
Right.
we have not been able to sort them out. So one of that issues is whether the Ganeshwar-Jodhpura culture, which was earlier termed as OCP culture,
Mm-hmm.
is the same as the OCP culture which is found in Doab from the sites Sanji Kheda, Lal Kila, Jakheda. So this was a very important issue which we had to sort it out. And then the chronology of that culture is also debatable. So we needed to come at some point that this is the actual time period of this culture. So we had both the tasks in our mind when we started excavation there.
Right.
And when we started excavation there, I think for about 4 months there was no sign of any early culture at that site. And we were just thinking, oh, maybe we have selected the wrong site. There is nothing of early cultures presented at this site. And the last 1 month, we touched the painted graveyard culture level there, and
Huh.
below that we found ochre colored pottery, all the so-called Ganeshwar-Jodhpura pottery. So
Right.
by study of that pottery, we were sure that this is the same pottery which is
Mm-hmm.
being described as OCP in the Doab region from Athanjira, Jakheda, Lal Killa. This is the same pottery,
Okay.
and there are minor variations in the pottery because
Mm-hmm.
in this is in different geographical zone, and
Hmm.
that those sites are in a different geographical zone.
Right.
So
Right.
this is very obvious that there may be some differences in the pottery types, but
Right.
overall, the pottery assemblies confirms that this is the same pottery culture, whatever you want to call it, either Ganeshwar Jodhpura or the OCP.
Huh. Right. So, what are the issues also you face, like particularly when you go through this whole process? If we could add a little more on that, for people to also understand the work that goes behind all of
There
this.
are many issues. Firstly, you do not know when the permission will come. Okay,
Right.
from
Right.
the authorities, when you will be getting the permission, you do not know.
Right.
Secondly, when the permission is granted, uh, many times you are not sure about the budget component because
Haha.
it is also decided by the headquarters. And
Right.
then when these things are sorted out, uh, and you are going to start exhibition at some site, there are certain other factors which come into fore. For example, where will you be setting your camp? No, is there electricity or not? uh, you have to set up a pottery yard there for keeping the pottery and marking the pottery, spreading the pottery. So is there proper surface there and proper area for that also or not?
Right.
So these are basic things which you have to take into consideration, and based on that, you decide that okay, whether you have to set up a camp or you can take any building if that is available in that area on land. So both options are there, and
Right.
you should opt the option which is better for easy working at the site, or the convenience related to approach of the site.
Right.
Sometimes sites are uh, situated in such a terrain that it is not possible to set up a camp in a rented area or building. But sometimes, if it is situated in the vicinity of a village or in a village, you can have that. You can say it luxury for
Right.
that. So you can have that, and then issues are manifold. There is not that only one issue can be there. For example,
Absolutely.
ownership of the land also makes it challenging. If it is with private people, you have to convince them that okay, you give it to the government for 3 4 months for the time when the exhibition is to be conducted, and then we have to negotiate with them whether they want to take some compensation for if there is some crop there. So are also there, and if it is government, you have to inform the government authorities, the administration, and mostly administration is cooperative, but many times it also can happen that someone is not happy with your approach, and he or she can put some troubles for your work. So that has to be also taken care of. And
Right.
then at the site proper, you have to select the spots where at which spots you want to carry out the excavation, and what is the expected result. You do not know what the sequence of cultures is there, but
Right.
you have to identify those spots where you think that all the cultures which are representative
Mhm.
of that site are present at the same spot. So you have to identify all those spots, and
Right.
after that you have to identify other spots also where
Mhm.
you think that we need to check whether which type of cultures are there, because a mound can be of maybe 300 meter by 200 meter or 500 meter by 500 meter or even larger than that, or maybe a very small mound, but
Right.
you have to find out the entire means the cultural sequence of the entire mound.
Right.
So but you cannot excavate the entire mound at any
Mhm.
cost. So you have to decide the spots from where you will be having the maximum information about the
Mhm.
site. So this is
Mhm.
also very important, and in that process, there are certain issues there, always issues there, because either the site would be enclosed by local people, or
Mhm.
there would be dense forest cover there. So you have to deal with all such issues at the
Right.
site.
Right, right. That was interesting to know. It is a lot of challenge. But I think early one of your earlier sites was at Rakhigarhi. So, what were some key findings there about systems planning, since it's a part of the Harappan civilization, and other facets that were discovered there? So, can you share some details on that?
See, Rakhigarhi was already excavated in 1998 by Sri Amrinath ji, and
Okay.
most of the information about the site was already available through his excavations.
Huh, huh, huh.
And we were knowing that Rakhigarhi has pre-Harappan deposit, which
Right.
might be going back to the times of the Hagda culture,
Huh,
and
huh.
that may date easily to around 4500 BCE. So
Hmm,
we were
hmm,
already knowing that this type of culture is present there. And
hmm,
then there, after pre-Harappans, there was the presence of early Harappan culture. And
hmm,
after early Harappan, there was the mature Harappan culture. And
hmm,
during the mature Harappan times, Rakhigarhi was one of the largest sites
hmm,
in terms of area. And there are two parameters. One is a single entity. If you consider the single entity as a site, then Mohenjo-daro is the largest site of the Harappan Empire, because
hmm.
a single mound is the most extensive one. Then there
Right.
is Harappa also, then our Rakhigarhi also. But if you consider the different isolated sites as a combined entity, in
Right.
that way, Rakhigarhi is possibly the largest one.
Right.
So there are seven very close knit mounds, and
Huh,
two
huh.
mounds are situated at some near means at some distance, and
Hmm,
two other mounds were already also identified by some scholars. Those
hmm,
mounds are a bit far away.
hmm,
They might not be forming part of the that combined entity.
hmm,
So
hmm,
for many aspects, we were already having some knowledge about
hmm.
the Kakigadi site, like the necropolis there, acropolis there, but we were not sure which mound is the acropolis. About the necropolis, we were sure, because mound number seven, there were many burials which were unearthed by Dr. Amrinath. And
Okay.
later on, Professor Vasant Sindhe also excavated in that area, and
Hmm,
he
hmm, 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 hmm.
found many burials there. And one
Right.
of the burials was studied for its DNA also, which
Yes.
became very popular
Yes. Yes.
worldwide. So uh, when I was there in the branch, I was
Hmm.
given the responsibility as a co-director of the excavation. Director
Okay.
was Sanjay Manjul, and as a part of the branch, we decided to take up the excavation at mound number three. Mound
Hmm,
number three was never excavated before, so we
hmm,
did
hmm,
excavate there. It was
hmm,
a lofty mound. It had a deposit of about 10 to 12 meters,
hmm, hmm.
and our excavation was not large one, very small excavation, and in that we did not go much deep and
Okay.
the deposit which we unearthed was belonging to the late phase of the mature Harappan culture, or
Hmm, hmm,
the just the beginning of the um, mature Harappan culture.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
there was some evidence of a drain also, and
Hmm.
there was burnt brick structures also, which uh, which informed us that there was some better planned city there, and they were having some planning there in
Right.
their architecture when they constructed that city. So, but there were many phases of that, and since we were not there for a very long time, we could not find all those things. But it was important from that aspect that it was excavated for the first time, mound number three. So it gave us an idea what type of findings were there.
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
Number seven was also dug up during that time,
Ha,
and
ha, ha.
in at mound number seven there was some important finding. Uh, uh, the the burials were in various stages.
Hmm. Hmm.
Means
Hmm.
it that a burial, one burial is dug there, and then there is no further burial there. So these were in phases.
Oh.
So at one early phase, the burial was made. Then after few years or decades or centuries, another burial was made there above
Oh.
that, and then another burial was made. So there is a layer of burials there at that part, in that part, and below that, Piri Harappan or the early Harappan deposit is also there in the same area. So
Right.
it means that during the early Harappan times or the Piri Harappan times, most of these areas were occupied. People were living there, and during the mature Harappan phase, uh, 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 few of them decided that it would work as a burial ground for us.
Oh.
So during the mature open phase, this mound number seven was is used as a burial complex.
Right.
Burials were made there.
Right, right. That's interesting to know, especially when in today's city times when we have cities where we have population, huge population, a lot of problems, traffic, pollution. There back then, it is interesting to know that they were very organized. So that's interesting to know. At Bewan, it is described as linking to the OCP Ganeshwar cultural zone. For listeners who are new to archaeology, what makes a site like Bewan important in mapping early cultural phases? And how would you explain it to our audience?
See, in archaeology, the most important thing which we get is the pottery.
Right,
So, for example, nowadays also we have this steel culture. We have
right.
steel utensils at our home. Before that, these were used to be of brass or bronze. These utensils, and also these terracotta utensils were utilized. And before that, uh, most of our utensils were only of terracotta. So
Okay,
what we find in early cultures, this is only pottery. Other artifacts are also found, but their number is not so significant
right.
as compared to the pottery. So pottery is the most important tool for archaeologists to study a culture. In
Hmm, hmm,
that
hmm.
sense, we classify cultures based on those pottery types.
Okay.
So, if we leave aside the Harappans uh, in the Ganga Yamuna Doab area or
Hmm, hmm.
other parts of our country, we have various cultures which are nomenclature, whose nomenclature is based on the pottery types.
Hmm.
So one of the pottery type is OCP, that is
Okay.
ochre colored pottery. It is a simple redware pottery which on rubbing leaves ochreous color. So because of that characteristic, it is named as ochre colored pottery.
Right.
So from the site of Hastinapur, it was for the first time said that it is OCP, ochre colored pottery. Earlier, it was found also from the site of Aichatra. Aichatra is also a very important site
Hmm.
related to our mythology and our tradition. And Hastinapur we all know. So
Yes.
from there it was found from the earliest deposits, and it was
Mhm.
named copper colored pottery.
Okay.
And this pottery culture, our archaeologists believed that it is the earliest culture of the Doab region, OCP. And then in the 70s, there was a site, Ganeshwar, which was excavated in Sikar district of Rajasthan. And after that, a site named Jodhpura was excavated, which nowadays form part of Jaipur district.
Okay.
So these two sites were excavated by the director of State Archaeology Department of
Mhm.
Rajasthan, Dr. R.C. Agrawalji. And both these sites were very important because of the fact that from the lowest deposit, ochre colored pottery was found, which
Mhm.
later was termed as Ganeshwar-Jodhpura pottery, not as
Mhm.
OCP, because there was
Mhm.
some doubt whether it is the same as the OCP in the Doab region or different. So they better use this term, Ganeshwar-Jodhpura, for that. Uh,
Okay.
Okay, and
Right.
and when it was found, it was also found that there were many copper artifacts which were found from this cultural deposit, or were found from somewhere nearby this cultural deposit before the excavations. So
Mhm.
these copper artifacts were believed to be the same one which are being found in the Harappan zone. So it was considered that this Ganeshwar Jodhpura culture is the culture which was providing or supplying the raw copper or the copper implements, artifacts to the Harappans.
Oh,
So
okay.
in that way, it became very important that okay, Harappan civilization is there, but who are the suppliers to the Harappans for their
Mhm. Mhm.
urban nature? Who are the suppliers? So this Ganeshwar Jodhpura culture was named after the site of Ganeshwar and Jodhpura, and they were believed to be the suppliers of copper, all the metals to the Harappans. So in that sense, it was very important. This culture was very important, and these two are the sites which were excavated earlier. After that, no Ganeshwar Jodhpura culture or OCP culture was excavated in Rajasthan area. Beside these
Mhm.
two, and
Mhm.
the report of none of them is with us. No report was
Mhm.
written except for a few articles. Nothing was written about these two cultures, these two sites. So because of that, our excavation at Bewa became very important because Bewa site is situated in between Ganeshwar and Jodhpura.
Oh,
Both are
okay.
equidistant from there, and
Uh-huh. Right.
and it is in the same zone from where copper was being mined, and still
Uh-huh.
today also copper is being mined in that
Okay.
area.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
Khetri is also not very far from there. Khetri, the famous copper mines, these
Mm-hmm.
are 70-80 kilometers from Deva. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and there were other also, sources also of copper in those early times in the vicinity of Ganeshwar and Bewa.
Uh-huh.
So there had a copper ore. So because of that, this site was important. And when we excavated Bewa, we found metallurgical activities on a very large scale during the historical times. Even in the PGW or the OCP times, copper was present there. These people were manufacturing copper from the ore, and they were preparing artifacts from that. Uh, though in our excavation in the OCP level, we did not find much evidence of that metallurgical activity, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously they would have been doing that activity also. It is
Mm-hmm.
our indication that the area in which we did excavation, the evidence was not that high. But in the other cultures, in the PGW culture or in the later Mauryan or the Shung Kushan cultures, this metallurgical activity was very vast. So we had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of tueres there and slag there, and this type of metallurgical activity is not found from the sites which are situated in Doab region. So Bahaj is
Mm-hmm.
also very important, to which we will come
Come.
soon. But there, this activity is not in that way. The site of Bewan is important because it was a important center for metallurgical activities. The most important activity might be the metallurgical activity only, but
Right.
in other areas the activities are different, and they were definitely being supplied from those people who are living at Bewan or Ganeshwar, the raw material. But the people of Bahaj or these other sites in the Doab region, they were having other many other things also to do. So
Mm-hmm.
they had a multifaceted economy or the lifestyle. But for
Uh,
these people, their main job was to supply the metal.
right.
So it is important for that point that they are the manufacturer of the copper, and they are supplying that copper to the other contemporary cultures and the Harappans.
Right. 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 Actually, yeah, a lot of us know about Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, but these sites now that you told us, really interesting to know that how they used to supply. Earlier, you mentioned that one of again your starting works at when you joined the Jaipur Circle, Barnoli ki Dhai was one of them. So, what did the stratigraphy and material culture reveal about the settlement continuity and in the Mathura region, the Braj region? So, and what's one very surprising, I think, revelations were there. So, can you share a little about that?
No, I did Barnoli High exhibition when I was in the exhibition branch to Greater
Okay.
Noida.
Right.
It is named after Delhi. It is known as Delhi Exhibition Branch.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
the site of Barnoli ki Dhai is situated very near to the famous Radharani Temple of Mansarovar. There are
Mm-hmm.
two major Radharani temples in entire Braj. One is the famous Balsana Radharani Temple, the most famous one, and the second one is the Mansarovar Radharani Temple, which is situated opposite Vrindavan.
Mm-hmm.
So this site is about 1 kilometer away from that famous temple, and the Yamuna Expressway is passing just by the side of this site. When
Mm-hmm.
I explored this site in 2000, maybe 1998, when I was not in this field, I saw this site by some coincidence. So since then, I was knowing that there is a site, and when I got the opportunity, I applied for its excavation, and by the grace of God, I could excavate there. Somehow this site turned out to be of very different nature, and the excavation is important not for the findings but for understanding the nature of such type of sites which are situated in the vicinity of river Yamuna.
Mm-hmm.
Actually uh, actually there are two type of sites in the vicinity of Yamuna or
Mm-hmm.
any river. One
Mm-hmm.
is a proper habitation site, which is having a huge deposit of cultures.
Mm-hmm.
That deposit may be 10 meter, 12 meter, 15 meter, like that. And there are other type of archaeological sites which are situated on the elevated soil or the mounds of the river Yamuna itself. Means
Mm-hmm.
the sites which were formed in a natural way. So this Barnoli Ki Dhai site is situated on a naturally made mound, which is about 10 to 12 meter from the river course high, and above that those people settled there. So
Mm-hmm.
when we started excavation there, we were not sure what is the total deposit at this site. And at that site, this is the most challenging site which I have ever seen in my life, or I have discussed with anyone in my life.
Oh.
The site is so amazing that on the top of the site, as we excavated, the
Mm-hmm.
total deposit was about 1 meter or 1.2 meter only.
Huh,
And
huh.
on the slope of the site at the top itself, means if it is a mound, this is the top, top level, and this is the slope. So here the trench is showing the deposit of 3.5 meters, and this trench is showing the deposit of 1 meter or 1.2 meter only, and this is having 3.5 meter, and the section of one trench is totally different from the section which is coming just behind it.
Huh.
So there was some such activity which we did not understand what is happening there, what
Right.
type of climatic conditions were coming there, and
Hmm.
were forming some uh, pattern, and because of that the site was being formed.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that site is more important from the geological point of understanding than
Hmm.
the archaeological understanding. And at the top there was two type of evidence. One is of dryness. So in one section in the same quadrant, one section is showing a deposit of only 1 meter or 1.2 meter. The other side section is having 3.5 meter, and
Hmm.
the layers are also very different from each other. So what type of disturbances were happening there in the past, we could not confirm the exact nature of those disturbances. And there was some activity which was fluvial, means related to heavy rains or the flooding type of activity.
Hmm.
So, since it is situated 12-meter above the ground level or the Yamuna level, so how can a fluvial activity take place at 12-meter height? It is beyond our understanding. We still do not know what happened there actually. But the things which we got to know are the site was having the earliest deposit in the form of painted graveware culture, and there was some indication that there was marginal presence of ochre colored pottery or the black and red ware using people also at the same site, but there was no proper stratified context of all these findings, and the presence of painted graveware there was so much that all the entire area of the site was full of PGW pottery. Because of that, I thought that it should be taken up for excavations. And when we started digging, there was the presence of medieval structures also there. Medieval pottery was there, and uh, mixed with that pottery, we were getting PGW also. And till the closure of the excavation, we could not confirm the exact stratigraphy of the site, whether it can be believed or not that PGW is coming in the lower levels. So there was some, there were many disturbances at that site, and this is important for us because there are many sites in the vicinity of Yamuna River channel
Hmm.
that are having the same kind of deposit. So,
Hmm.
what is happening? This such type of sites which were having natural elevation before these came into habitation. The, the people who were living somewhere else, they for some reasons came to such sites. They settled there for a very small period of time, maybe during the flood times or for some other pastoral activities. They came up there. They settled for they might have made some mud structures for a small period of time, and then they went away from there. Then they came again there for after 2 years or 1 year, whatever the time interval was there, and then again they lived there for 1 month or for some period, and this activity kept on going on for many decades or centuries. Deposit is there, but there is no proper living pattern of those early cultures at that site. And then there is presence of Kushan structures also there, and Kushan pottery and some artifacts were found, and then there was the presence of medieval structures also, medieval period of Mughal period. They were living there. So such type of sites are quite common in that area. So uh, it is easy for us now to understand the nature of those sites. Otherwise,
Mhm.
since such a site was not excavated earlier, we did not know
Mhm.
what type of deposit would be there. But
Mhm.
now we do know that there are two type of sites. One is the regular habitation sites, which are having the deposit as we know. But there are this type of sites which are having a different type of deposit, and it is very difficult to understand their exact nature. But we do know that this type of sites are having these archaeological cultures hidden inside their soil.
Right, right. That's actually, yeah, interesting. We think we know, but when we dig, that's when we actually know that there is so much more that is beyond our understanding, also. So, yeah, that is really interesting. Coming to, of course, the latest work at Bahaj, some of the groundbreaking discoveries were made. One of your paper deals with numismatics, wherein the earliest coinage, I think, of Bharata was unearthed at Bahaj. Could you explain how that? What does it tell about the life there, the economy, trade? What are the key insights there?
See, we do not know from which time the exact currency started in our country or
Mm-hmm.
anywhere uh, for that matter, but we are sure that they were using certain system of barter and certain metal ingots for trade earlier, and cowrie shells were also being used for monetary purposes.
Right.
But during the modern period or the pre-modern period, we were knowing that we were having punch mark coins as our currency, and the issue was we were having the punch mark coins as a chance finding or uh, coins being found by some coin collector. But in the proper stratigraphic context, uh, I do not know why it happened, but generally scholars uh, did not uh, give proper attention to this period, because in archaeological reports, if you will see this period, even for Akranji Kheda, what is happening, they are telling that this period uh, goes on from 500 BCE to 300 CE. So about 800 years or a time span of 600 years is being considered as a single unit, and they are not telling uh, in what phased manner the things are changing. So at Bahaj, we were very lucky, and with the grace of God, we were able to understand the stratigraphy properly, and the stratigraphy was very much stable. It was not disturbed as I was talking about the site of Barnoli ki Dhai, where the stratigraphy was very much disturbed. But here at Behaz, the stratigraphy is not disturbed. So we are having proper layers, one under the other, then other. So because of that, we were able to surmise what period can be assigned to a particular cultural deposit, and
Mm-hmm.
based on that, we were in a condition to know that okay, this is the deposit which belongs to the Shun period.
Mm-hmm.
Then below the Shun period comes the modern period, and there are some certain antiquities with artifacts which are related to the modern age. So besides the pottery, we can date that period based on the basis of the artifacts, antiquities. And below that, below the modern period, there is the deposit of pre-modern period, and we are having punchmark coins, copper cast coins in different contexts from that same deposit, from the pre-modern deposit. And that deposit is datable to around uh, 4th century BCE to 5th century BCE easily. So the dating of that deposit is uh, um, from the mid of the 4th century BCE, about 350 BCE to 500 BCE. Now that deposit is datable to that period, but the
Mm-hmm.
coins which are being found in that deposit,
Mm-hmm.
these are very worn out coins. They have a lot of wear and tear. So
Mm-hmm.
based on that, we do know that these coins were in use for 100 or 200 of years. Because of that, only these became such debased. So,
Mm-hmm.
so now we do know stratigraphically that the coin is being found in a deposit which may be dated to around 400 to 500 BCE, and
Mm-hmm.
was in use for at least 100 to 200 years. So
Mm-hmm.
it goes to 700 or earlier than 700 BCE, or just near about 700 BCE. So this dating is important from this stratigraphic point of view. Earlier, the coins were being found, but these were not being assigned a particular stratigraphy. Now we do have a proper stratigraphy there at Bahaj in more than 2-3 trenches, and based on that, we are in a position to say that the coinage which we are getting, and earlier which was being reported as Mauryan, or the late Mauryan Shun period, that is actually being dated to pre-modern times, and its origin goes back to the 600 700 BCE time period.
Okay.
And secondly, the coins, we are having 2-3 different types of coins which we found in the earliest times,
Mm-hmm.
means the coinage started. So we are having copper punchmark coins, silver punchmark,
Mm-hmm.
and copper cast coins, which are uninscribed copper cast coins. So we were not sure which of these came first and which came afterwards. So in our excavation, for one thing we are very sure that silver and copper punchmark coins are coming simultaneously. There is no early and later one.
Mm-hmm.
These are coming simultaneously. In the same period, the uninscribed copper cast coin is also coming, but
Mm-hmm.
it is slightly later than the punchmark coins. Copper cast coin is slightly later. It is coming in the same deposit, but it is slightly later because its condition is much better than the debased weathered punchmark coins.
Right. This is interesting to know that Indian civilizations had an economical system in place like back to 600, 700 BC, we could trace it. That's actually interesting. I think one of the most interesting findings also at this site was the Yajña-kuṇḍa, which actually caught the public attention also. And we had ritual artifacts also that were found along with that. So, what is the significance of discovering that?
See, there are two types of ritualistic activities which we found at Bahaj uh, in the same deposit. Means
Hmm.
that deposit is datable to pre-modern period, and one of the activities, one or more than one activity, more than one activity is datable to the upper phase of PGW period. What is happening, we never saw this type of phenomenon anywhere in our country, or we did not study any such thing in any text till
Mm-hmm.
now. So
Exactly.
what was happening when we were excavating in trench XB8 in the first season,
Mm-hmm.
uh, during the because we had no idea what type of deposit is coming. So when we were excavating the pre-modern deposit, we were getting some pits which were filled with uh, pure sand, but there was no pattern while doing that excavation.
Mm-hmm.
So we just thought there is something different happening here, but what is it? We do not know. Some coins were also found, but we were not able to associate those coins that okay, they are putting there, because we had no idea that it is happening like that. So what happened? when we started excavating the other area of the central area of the mound, and we went at that depth, the contemporary depth, in the section itself, there was a structure which was coming in that trench, and we did not remove that structure. We started digging by the side of that structure. So our section was formed below that structure. So that structure was datable to the Mauryan period. The brick size was of Mauryan period, 53 centimeter length bricks were used in that. And below that, in the section, we observed that activity is coming, which is taking a linear shape, linear pattern, and there were pits uh, dug like that. Means irregular shaped pits. These were being dug there, and in two or three of such pits, they had put a small miniature uh, pot, and in that miniature pot, they had kept a few coins.
Oh.
In one of those pots, four coins were wrapped inside a cloth piece. That cloth piece, we have sent for further investigation. But in that uh, copper four punchmark coins were kept together, and in other such pits, in one or two such pits, it was just offered without any pot,
Oh,
directly
correct.
offered. And uh, in two or three such pits, copper and iron, small copper and iron objects were offered as offerings.
Oh,
Okay, so we were sure that this is some kind of ritualistic activity which is happening there.
right.
So what we found was that they were digging pits from the level where they were living. They were digging the soil, and from somewhere outside they were bringing the pure sand, and they were pouring that pure sand in those pits, and with that, sometimes they were offering miniature pots and the copper or silver punchmark coins with those in those pits, and sometimes they were just putting the metals inside, because metal is considered sacred. And even till now, when we dig a foundation for our houses, there is a this prevailing tradition in our society that we do put some silver or copper or iron or metal or object in that foundation.
Yes, yes,
This is so. I think this tradition goes back to those times at least. Maybe it is even earlier, but we do not
right.
have evidence of prior times. But from those times, means around 500 BCE, 450 BCE, we are sure that we were having this system in place. This tradition is in place. So this is one type of ritualistic activity. This was observed in two trenches, in XB8 quadrant 1, and then in XB8 quadrant 4, and the trench ZA7, which was in the central part of the mound. In these two trenches, we observed this type of activity. Then in some exposed sections or some other small areas of our digging, we observed this activity, but that was not on we could not expose that on a large scale. This activity and there in the same time period, but we were not able to expose it on a larger scale. But we know that at the same time it was happening all over the area, and there
Right.
must have been a big ritualistic activity on the entire site, that they started doing this thing. Then before that, in the upper levels of PGW period, which was earlier associated with the Mahabharata times, I'm not saying
Right.
in that PGW period, in the upper layers, there was an activity which was very unique. No, till now, activity has been found. We found a shape of a yoni, vagina, that was formed by putting up bricks. Bricks were
Mhm.
very special. Those bricks were having different size. Such
Mhm.
types are not found neither in the modern period nor in the PGW period. But for that
Mhm.
specific activity, they made those different type of special bricks, and
Mhm. Mhm.
they were put to just give a proper shape.
Mhm.
And some mud bricks or the soil was also clay was also used to
Mhm.
give it a proper shape. And two courses of bricks were there.
Mhm.
When we removed that deposit from inside, we found complete pots. Some of the pots were having a hole at the base in the center,
Uh-huh.
and there was a lot of ash, and the grains which were found there. We just had a preliminary investigation there. Dr. Satish Naik was there of Deccan College, who is a
Mhm.
paleobotanist. So we just uh, uh, remove the grains from there, from that deposit by flotation and sieving, and then these were examined. So two type of jaw and moong, the barley and green gram,
Mhm.
these two grains were confirmed. So
Oh,
these two are used for ritualistic purposes
yes, yes,
in most of our country.
yes.
So we were sure that this activity is part of some important ritual. So this yoni shaped kund was made, and below that we found that it is having a ring well. This
Uh-huh.
now we believed that ring well starts in the pre-modern period, not before.
Mhm.
So it
Mhm.
is for the first time here that we are getting a this ring well being made there for a yajña-kuṇḍa activity, which dates back to the PGW period. And this season, we found a ring well in the upper levels of PGW period, which was starting in the upper levels of PGW period. So
Mhm.
the ring well activity starts with the PGW period, which was earlier being believed that it starts with the pre-modern or the modern period. So this is the one of the ritualistic activities, and the by the side of that yoni shaped kund, another
Mhm.
activity was found which was having a comb shape. So there also the same things were observed: pots having holes, complete pots, bowls having hole in the center, or and the ash and the grains of barley and green gram. So we were sure that this belongs to a ritualistic activity.
Literally. Is indeed groundbreaking. I mean, not just economical, but our rituals and traditions also now have a physical evidence that, okay, back then also it was there, we were doing this, and we have a
And
physical.
we try to find out
Right,
whether there is some mention of this activity, means putting up pure sand in a ritualistic pit. So
right.
I think I got to know some such reference, but
Mhm.
right now I do not remember that. I will have to check it out. But there
Right.
is some reference for that also. So it is also part of our Vedic tradition. This,
You mean our text and scriptures have that mention that, okay,
yeah,
such
yeah, putting
ritual
up
we do for someone so
natural
purpose.
sign, putting up natural sign inside the sacrificial pits.
Right, right, right. Definitely, yes. That definitely indicates then our ritual, our traditions, confirms our traditions and how old they are. So that's wonderful to know. Recently, I think one of your ongoing works is at Talavriksha Temple in Rajasthan. It is a medieval temple, but there are most of the people know it, I think, from Mahabharata. And the dating, you have various, I think, aspects to the dating of the temple. Then there is temple's relocation, layered architectural history. There's coexistence of different iconographic traditions in the same place. So, how did that happen? Like, what does this mean? Can you share something on that?
Actually, there are many temple towns in Rajasthan
Right.
which have not been studied properly. Tālavṛkṣa is not a temple town, but it has some temple activity in a particular area. And
Right.
Tālavṛkṣa, we all know that in the Mahabharata, when Pandavas came for this Agyatwas, they put up their weapons on a tree. You know,
Right.
that tree is of uh, that is not that is not a palm tree, that is some other tree. I
Oh.
think I am not remembering that tree name, but that is different, a very huge tree, going up quite high, and
Mhm.
in that they had hidden those weapons. But at the same time, in the Mahabharata, it tells that there is a shrine of Ganga Ma, in that at that place. And
Mhm.
when they entered there, the Pandavas,
Mhm.
then Yudhishthir firstly prays to Devi Durga, and
Right.
there is a huge Durga Stuti given there, which was uh, recited by Yudhishthir and all the Pandava brothers and Draupadi in jointly with Yudhishthir. But that temple was not there. That Devi temple was not there. It was somewhere else. But they were doing. They knew that it is the most important place of worship in the Bṛhat area, in the Bṛhat Janpad. So they were
Mhm.
just praying to that goddess.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
at the same place, there was a temple which belongs to the medieval period of around
Mhm.
8th 9th century CE, the temple.
Yes.
And then there was some other activity in that area, and the temple which was relocated, about which I have mentioned in that paper, uh, that belongs to the 10th century, and there is a shivling enshrined there, but the temple is relocated from some other area from a nearby village, and because of that it was having these dikpalas in different directions. Means we have
Oh,
a particular direction for a dikpal.
yes.
We have eight ashtadikpalas, and
Yes.
all the eight are having a particular direction
Direction.
for their placement. But in
Right.
that temple, it was not like that. So I thought, what is happening there? So later on, I came to know that the temple has been relocated from somewhere else, and a
Uh-huh.
powerful landlord did it. He brought it from somewhere else, and he put it, put
Oh.
he reconstructed the temple there, and because of that, and the shivling is already older than that temple there. So
Uh-huh.
he just put a temple there.
Right.
Shivling was
Built.
not there.
Right.
So that area is related to various myths associated with all the stories associated with the Mahabharata, and there is this continuing tradition of temples at that place. This confirms that okay, our traditions might not be having all the support base, means in terms of uh, the evidence which we want to seek nowadays, but there was something already existing there. People knew that in their tradition or the folklore, that it had happened there, it was happening there, or is it happening, it is happening there. And because of that, such activities like temple construction have taken up there.
Right. Right. So I think there's some more work in Rajasthan also happening, ongoing, setting of museums, interpretation centers, documentation. This is for what purposes?
See, in our Jaipur circle,
Mhm.
we do not have any museum except for Deek Palace. And Deek
Ah,
Palace, we are having this the royal artifacts there, which we have kept inside the palaces, and
mhm.
we have named them as Deek Palace. This is a period museum. So
Hmm.
royal artifacts are kept there, and one can see by going there. But in Jaipur or any other place in Jaipur Circle jurisdiction, we are not having any museums or interpretation center. So because of that, we thought that in our office itself, we were having a hall, and there was a possibility that we can develop a museum and interpretation center, so that school students from at least from Jaipur area, they can come there and do
Hmm.
some certain activities. They can learn something, and they can see how the archaeological museum looks like. So we have created display boxes there. We are putting artifacts there, antiquities there, which we have found from various excavations, from Bahaj, from Bewan, from Ojiana, or from Nagar Fort, earlier excavations. Whatever is with us and deserving a display, we are trying to display all these objects there in that museum. And there are touch screen kiosks which we have arranged there. So students can come there, and they can see a documentary on Behaj, or documentary on Ranthambore Fort, documentary on Bhangar, which we are in process of getting.
Hmm.
So all these things they can see. Then we have also collaborated with the HST Heritage Science and Technology Department of IIT Hyderabad.
Okay. Right,
So
right.
they have created a virtual tour for us of the excavation, of the
Uh,
artifacts, and of the excavation itself. So
hmm.
they will also be providing us that data. So that data can also be seen by the students. They can feel how an excavation really looks like or feels like. So they can go through the trenches. They can touch a artifact virtually, and they can understand various things related to that. So all this is happening there in that museum. So I think by next month that may get inaugurated by some important person.
That's a wonderful initiative, and I hope that the students definitely benefit out of it, and we'll all visit it also.
Yeah,
So,
and also we are preparing uh, a proper documentation of all the temple towns which are there in our jurisdiction. So all that data will also be incorporated in those touchscreen kiosks. So if one wants to learn about a particular sculpture,
Mhm.
for example, if it is Tapaswini Parvati, so how does Tapaswini Parvati looks like? What are her attributes? How can one say that it is a Tapaswini Parvati image? So
Right.
all those things. If it is a Krishna Leela, so what are the attributes by which one has said that it is a Krishna Leela episode? Which Krishna Leela episode? Why? So
Uh,
all such things can be understood by the can be learned by the students. So it will be very good for learning purpose, and I think it is our duty to do all such things, so that
that.
the information and knowledge gets distributed among all of us, all of our junior younger generation. And uh, this interpretation center we are also developing at Abaneri, at Bhangar, at D. So at any place where there is some possibility, we are trying to take up this work. And
Right.
uh, the visitor experience at any of the sites, it should get and further enriched. It should get
Yes.
it should get better, and they should give more and more time to such activities of learning. So it will be better for our for us also as a department to
Right.
integrate knowledge, and for the students also, so all the visitors also, so that they can learn many other things, and they can spend more and more time while visiting a monument.
Right. Right. That's a wonderful initiative. I'm sure the students would benefit from that. They'll get to know the first-hand experience of archaeology, and maybe they take interest also then in that field. They'll be curious about that field. So
Because
that
they will be seeing the pottery, all the pottery types
yes,
there,
Right.
pots also there, because in what happens in our normal archaeological museums, we are having sculptures, mostly sculptures only. But
Yes.
here we will be having all the small artifacts which are
Mhm.
important uh, from the point of view of an excavation, and
Right.
how the excavation looks like, what are the exact things which are found in an excavation. All these things can be understood by the students.
Wonderful, wonderful. Based on that, what is after several years, what is your understanding of archaeology? What role does it play in our society? And you also have an interest in art, iconography, and an expertise in that also. So, how do these disciplines also enrich archaeology?
See, all these things are interrelated.
Right,
If one has interest in Indology, so it cannot be only in archaeology. It should
right,
have to be in the art and iconography and archaeology all together. All the
absolutely.
other aspects related to literature, ancient texts, all these things, Sanskrit, all these, Pali, Prakrit, all these are all these form a single entity, Indology. So, means interest cannot be in a single aspect of Indology. It should be in multiple aspects of Indology. So, I think people, when one thinks of archaeology, it is like, oh, Egyptian pyramids, all the Mesopotamian ziggurats, or you are just going to find a great bath of Mohenjo-daro, all such stuff. But archaeology is not like that. We have to do very hard work. We have to do much of hard work. Things are not such interesting always. Sometimes it can become interesting when you find some unique thing. Otherwise, it is not as interesting as people think. Oh, means they. Uh, they make it like a dream, but it is not like a dream. It is very hardworking approach, and it requires a lot of dedication, and you also need to take some kicks also, because it is not so easy. Means it is not a very popular or very reputed job line. So you have to sometimes you have to feel humiliation also. So you must
Mhm.
be uh, ready for all those things. All these are part and parcel of the job of an archaeologist. And uh, sometimes we think, okay, if there is a site Hastinapur or Indraprasth, so we will or Mathura, so we will find all those things which are mentioned in our scriptures, like that.
Mhm.
But it is not happening like that. It till now it has not happened like that. From none of our sites we have been able to find such type of things which are mentioned in our literature. But here I would like to say that archaeology has certain limitations. So we should not give that much importance to archaeology, which is beyond the scope of archaeology.
Hmm.
Uh, we,
Hmm.
there is certain evidence which can be corroborated by archaeology, and
Hmm.
we should confine ourselves to only that aspect. We should not
Absolutely.
think that archaeology will bring all these things. For example, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, these are rare examples of deserted sites. Till
Hmm.
now we
Hmm.
have not found such sites anywhere in our subcontinent.
Right.
These are rare sites. I do not know what happened to those sites, because of which the uh, surviving tall
Hmm.
structures were left like that, and they got buried, and later on we discovered them.
Right.
But in any other site, such things have not happened.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
even in if we come close to means a bit close to such things, that has happened in Dhalavira, and
Right.
it happened at Dhalavira because Dhalavira was having stone built structures,
Hmm.
stone structures, and it was abandoned after a certain period of time, and nothing happened there after that. So we were able to get such huge or good evidence from there, from Dhalavira. But at other sites which are having continuous habitation or digestion and then habitation,
Hmm.
at sites it is very difficult to find such type of structures or things which we speculate or we want to see by through archaeology. So it is very difficult.
Right, right. That's indeed yes. So thank you for clarifying that and busting so many myths about archaeology. With that, I would like to thank you, Vinayji, so much for this lovely podcast today. Thank you for your time and valuable inputs and the path-breaking work. Thank you for sharing that on Bahaj. I think that's what inspired many of us and took a lot of people started taking interest also in archaeology. With that, I wish you we'll be looking forward to the interpretation centers also that are coming up. We wish you the very best in 2026 and we look forward to more such discoveries and having more such interviews with you. So, with that, yes, thank you very much for joining
Thank
us.
you very much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity so that our work can reach maximum number of people who want to know about archaeology or the related things related to Indology. So thank you very much for providing me this opportunity. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Vinayji, for joining us today. Namaste.